Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Fantasy Premier League Game Week 36 and the top transfer targets. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Marc, Fantasy Football Scout's writer, to select the best options. Marc, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Another game week where it ends on a Thursday, so it's sort of makes the week a little bit
Yeah.
lopsided, but can't really complain, can you? Really? Because
No, I'm on a tiny red arrow at the moment. I'm hoping with 5 to go, including Palmer, they're all well owned. I'll be on a tiny green. I can't. I don't think I'm going to move much at all, really. So, but that's the way it is when there's obvious players to get in, and some of those will be the players that we're going to mention today. So we'll focus on the sort of transfer tips, and this sort of goes alongside all our other videos and podcasts we've been doing all week, and all the content that you're involved in with Fantasy Football Scout as well. The bus team that's created, which is the team you put in place before deadline in case the worst happens with yourself and a bus. Okay, just a reminder to everyone to press that like button. It really helps us out, and also do remember to subscribe so you can be up to date with all our latest videos and podcasts. I think what we should do usually, and we're going to do the same again today, is look at the fixtures. With a special eye on game week 36. What are the sort of key fixtures that stand out in terms of where we should be targeting our transfers?
I think Newcastle have good fixtures according to the ticker and things like that, but we did a piece on the website this week about how different they are away from home, and there's only one of the final four matches that are at home. So it's sort of like, do you go off that or the leaky defenses of Burnley and Man United? So that's one way to look. There's also Arsenal at home to Bournemouth. Isn't Bournemouth on two consecutive clean sheets, so they're sort of doing all right. But you would still back Arsenal to break through that, and their defense is so sort of imperious this season that I think if you've got assets at both ends of the field, you'd be confident of that as well.
Yeah, I think there could be some goals in some of these sort of hard to judge clashes, Tottenham, Liverpool. But I think for me personally, I like the sort of safety sort of picks, and Man City at home to Wolves looks good. I think he looks strong, and there's form as well with a certain number of players which can't be ignored. I like Nottingham Forest away to Sheffield United as well, but Sheffield United are already relegated, so they've nothing to play for apart from sort of pride, and also often we see some of the sort of youth players, some players that perhaps haven't had a look in, some that the manager wants to look in for next season. So that can go either way. Either these sort of lesser players, squad players, end up because they're playing for their contracts next year, they're looking or playing for a move away. They can end up excelling, but you would think that the squad in general would suffer, even though obviously Sheffield United suffered anyway. But yeah, I think there's some good matchups this week. But it's game week 37 where a lot of transfers will be made. But I think there's injuries at the back as well, so there might be some moves for transfers at the moment. I think we should just go straight into our defenders. So we pick 3 from each category: 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards. We'll start off with Carl Walker at Man City. He gets the nods. Guardiola has been scoring, but I just think for minutes, and he's got assist potential as well. Great, 24 chances this season, and I've got his price at 5.4. I hope that's accurate this time. I've had a few inaccurate prices here. His points per match is 3.8. All of this data is available just from the FPL website. You can just click on it. That's all I did. He's 12.1% owned, and he's got that Wolves at home game. So, yeah, Walker, is he a good pick this week?
I think so. You can never totally say with confidence about the Man City defense, can you really? And we've seen, as you say, Guardiola has had his sort of goals recently. Maybe now it's Walker's turn. In fairness, he did, I think, assist twice at Brighton recently, 14 points. And City are another side like Bournemouth on successive clean sheets. So we've seen before that in the final stretch when they have to win, they often do win. And it feels like a defense that maybe for the first 35 weeks of the year aren't reliable, but maybe now they could be worth going for. And they say Walker's minutes up to a point this season, Walker was like 90 minutes every week, and that did inevitably change. But I still think he's possibly the safest route for minutes.
Yeah. Next one, I wanted to put an Arsenal defender in. I've gone for Ben White. I mean, he is top of all defenders for a reason, because he gets his clean sheets, but also he's got attacking returns. His points per match is 4.9, so that's a clear point per match more than Walker. Above Walker, he's in over a fifth of sides, 21.5%, and he got that home match against Bournemouth as well. So, I mean, I think it's probably, we need an Arsenal defender, even though it's Bournemouth who can score, but I think it's Ben White. I think is the best one to bring in if you're going to bring. Say if you've got none or you want to double up on the Arsenal defence, I think Ben White's the one to bring in.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen, of course, Gabriel get his goals as well, but then White, see, he's got 4 goals, 5 assists, so he's getting plenty of attacking returns, and they are just in so many areas of underlying stats. They are the best defense in the league, 8 clean sheets and 12. So yeah, I think having one of those, if you are unlucky enough to have sort of owned Van Heck and shares a doubt as well, Gusto, if you've got all of those and need to make a defensive transfer, I think an Arsenal defender, you shouldn't be scared off by single game week 37, because they could easily keep a clean sheet there as well.
Yes, indeed. And our third one, every week when I do FPL Generals show, I try and tempt him to get Reggie on, and he turns me down each time. And each week he gets like a double-digit haul, a couple of assists, clean sheet. I think he's actually weirdly one of the most attacking defenders in the league at the moment. Certainly in terms of XGI, he's got an XGI expected goal involvement every 368 minutes, and while that on its own might mean much, that's just below Robertson and Porro. So that's the sort of attacking returns he's got. If you think Robertson's a good option, Porro's a good option, Reguilon's certainly a good option. So he's 4.5 million, easily to forward. He's got 2.9 points per match, so not as strong as the other two, but you know that's what you get for that price. He's a differential. He's in 2.9% of teams, and he's got Fulham at home as well. And Brentford, I think he's worth. He could be brought in now. Fulham at home, Bournemouth away. That's bench boostable easily, and then he's got Newcastle at home. And Newcastle, I mean, your side, as you're saying about home and away, a bit tricky away. So, Reguilon, I'll try you. Would you bring Reguilon this week?
Kind of. A little bit scarred by his free hit red card, of course, but if that can be overlooked, he was on like 3 successive returns until that Everton defeat. So he's done really well. He's racked up the assists as well, a couple of negative scores just to add to that. And I think I was looking into it since game week 24. He's like number 2 defender for big chances created. Wow. He's number 3 defender for XGI, and he's also been suspended in that time and got sent off early in that match. So yeah, he is a good option. In fairness, the only thing that would put people off is the sort of lack of double. But he's really, really getting forward from wing back, and just a very interesting differential.
Definitely. It's worth pointing out that Fulham have conceded 35 goals on the road, and that's the 4th worst in the league. So if Reguilon is getting assists, he could get an assist in this game as well to go with a clean sheet, hopefully for those that bring him in. Let's go for midfielders next. So, I'm not messing around with this one. I've gone for the top 3 scoring FPL defenders. These, in FPL terms, these are the 3 best midfielders. They're all captainable. They're all great. They're all really cheap. So I will start with Palmer. He's 6.2 million. His points per match is 7.2. Wow. So if your points per match is higher than your price, you're a good player in FPL. He's in 48.9% teams. Half of teams already have him. The other half may possibly have given up if they haven't realised that Palmer's a good option so far. Is next match for 36 because he's still got a match to go tonight. So you'll be. I think we're going to be putting this out just before the match, Chelsea. So he might be even adding more to his tally. But it's a home match against West Ham in game week 36. Palmer. It's not a question of like do you bring him for these 51% of managers who haven't got him, bring him in. But for me, it's more a case of do I captain him or not?
Yeah, he's a strong contender for that. I'm probably gonna captain him as well. He's sort of like the perfect marriage of like form and the opposition defense because West Ham haven't kept a clean sheet in 15.
Okay.
And over the whole season, the sort of third worst for quite a few stats as well. So, Palmer's got so many average points recently, as you say, and he's hat-tricked and he's against this defense. It all comes together and it's just such an obvious pick. And captaincy, yeah, it could be. Let's just hope he gets through tonight's match.
Ahead of tonight's match, he's got 10 goals in his last 6 matches. Pretty good. Saka is 9 million. He's cheap as well. His points per match 6.5, not too shabby. Obviously, he's amongst the top 3 scoring FPL midfielders. Understandably, that has not gone unnoticed. He's 55.4% of teams, and his match is against Bournemouth as well. He is also a captaincy contender. The remaining 45% of you, if you're still playing and alive, please do get Saka in. He's good, even though he doesn't have a double in 37. I guess that's an issue as well. Arsenal don't have a double, but they are good assets, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm unfortunately one of the 45% after last week who don't have him. Sold him for the North London derby.
Same with me. I don't have him. I'm one of them.
Yeah, and you know what? This isn't a hindsight thing, but last minute was thinking, is it worth getting him now? Because I know I'd want him for 36 or Havertz, one of the two. And sure enough, Fernandez blanked and Saka hauls because that seems to be how it's going at the moment. So yeah, he's penalties, of course. Nobody has more penalty area touches over the season. He's locked in for minutes. He's got the fixture. Yeah. Saka. It just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does. So I almost forgot that I'm actually one of those idiots that don't have him as well. And perhaps we should just get him in because I'm probably going to want him in for game week 38. So I'm thinking myself now. Maybe I should be getting him in. He has just 2 goals in his last 6. Pretty good still, though. If you didn't want to get Saka in this week, but still wanted to get Arsenal, Havertz, 4 goals in his last 6, is a slightly cheap. I think he's 7 point something, but he's a slightly cheaper option there. Third player is Phil Foden. Once again, massively underpriced. 8.4 for his players with returns. 6.4 points per match. He's in 38.1% team. Now him, alongside Palmer, he is actually in my team, so I've already got him. But there are a number of managers that don't. They perhaps looked elsewhere. His matches against Wolves, he was ill last time out, so I expect him to. I mean, that's the latest, isn't it? He was ill last time out, so barring any surprise injuries, he should be playing this game.
Yeah, it feels like these days he only ever blanks or gets a hat trick at the moment. So that's kind of a frustrating experience, but it sounds like he could be okay, although this was also a surprise on Sunday. We just need clues from Pep, whether they arrive before the deadline or not. Don't know, but yeah, his underlying stats, he's amongst the best midfielders for shots and on target. And as sort of mentioned earlier, City right now are just relentless, and they just turned on the switch, and they can just beat anyone except Real Madrid.
Yeah, yes. Luckily, he's against Wolves, not Real Madrid. He's got 8 goals in his last 6 games. Not too shabby. Let's move on to forwards. Okay, right. So I've got 2 fairly standard picks, one that'll be controversial and people go, oh, what are you on? So we'll start with the normal picks first. Isak from your team, Newcastle. He's 8.3 million, a bargain. Points per match 5.7, good for a striker. He's in 35.9% teams. He is actually in my team already, but he's obviously not in a number of others. He is a good asset, put it mildly, but he is away to Burnley. So yeah, you mentioned earlier you've been writing that article about Newcastle's home and away. At home, I think Isak and Gordon, they appear to be a cheat code. Just get them in, they're going to get you points. They do it every. I didn't even doubt when Sheffield United scored. I just had no doubt that Isak and Gordon were going to get me lots of returns that game, and they did. But away, I'm not getting much from Gordon, but perhaps for Isak, I think he might. What do you think? Yeah, Isak as a forward for game 36.
I think Isak over Gordon, if you were sort of got a benching dilemma this week and on both of them, you're probably more likely to start Isak because he's on penalties and the disparity between home and away isn't quite as strong for him as it is for Gordon. I think 22 of Gordon's 25 attacking returns are at home. He's only got 3 returns away, whereas Isak, he's got 14 goals at home, 5 away. It's still heavily in favour of home, but it's not as bad. When you look at the home tables and the away tables of the season, Newcastle are the 4th best at home and the 15th away. So there is a difference there. But of course, you could look at Burnley and say, well, it's Burnley. And at the same time, they're in okay form as well. I think they've lost 1 in 8. So, but maybe that's more of a comment on Newcastle defensive prospects. I would still probably play Isak, absolutely. And then certainly for the 2 weeks after this.
Yeah, he's Burnley have conceded 70 goals this season, all in all, home and away. That's the 3rd worst behind Sheffield United and Luton. So that makes me think that if he is going to get one of his more rare attacking returns, it'll be attacking turns away. It'll be at this game. He's got 7 in his last 6, which is the most of any striker. So he's very good. Haaland, he's good as well. He's 14.1 million, so it costs you. He's in 62.3% of teams because he's got 6.6 points per match. He's at home against Wolves. He came back from injury. He was benched last game, came straight off the bench and scored. He's in the Golden Boot race along with Isak. I don't know how many. I don't know not how many Isaks on at the moment, but certainly with Ollie Watkins, there's competition for him basically.
I think that goal last week puts him still on top, Haaland, but it is close. It's a real chase now with Watkins and Isak, and I don't know, is Palmer in the race probably? So there's if these things are on his mind, as a striker, you probably do want that. So I don't think he'll be asking Pep to come off early or anything like that. There is a slight minutes risk with him perhaps, but we saw last week that he only needs a cameo to score, and his partnership with De Bruyne is so fruitful. It's a home game this time. Should he start, you would back him. And if we do get a hint that he starts, he could be still the best captain, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm going to captain him and hope for the best. Another player I think is worth getting in is Chris Wood. He's the 3rd choice striker. I think he's very good for this week away to Sheffield United. I said about them, you're not quite sure what you're going to get, but you're going to get a relegated side. This is what you know what you're going to get. You can get a team that's trying to avoid being relegated with an informed striker, even though people in the last match go, oh, but he was bad against Man City. Yeah, so he is not playing Man City this time. He's playing Sheffield United. He's got double digits for the last 5 seasons or so. So he's one of the most consistent scoring attackers. He's 4.8 million. He's got Sheffield United away in game week 36, as we know. Chelsea at home in 37 is not too bad. And Burnley away in 38. So I think he's good to go, whether you're bench boosting or not. 4.1 points per match, which is close on what his price is, which is huge. And he's only in 1.8% of teams, and it's Sheffield United away. Chris Woods. I think he's a good pick, but I already know that in the comments below, they're gonna go, Chris Wood, no way.
The reason he's definitely going to score is because my brother has been like 100 points behind me all season, and he's got it down to like 10, and he has Chris Wood this week. So Wood's definitely going to score.
Oh, that's it then, isn't it?
That's the way it's
Decided.
going right now. He
Yeah,
has Wood. He's going to overtake.
yeah,
So yes, do whatever you can to get Chris Wood in the team. He's Forest survival is in their own hands really. So they've got this and they've got Burnley on the last day. So they're gonna
yeah.
rely on Wood to get his goals. He's actually one of the best forwards for minutes per goal this season as well. So should he start, which he will, or should, this it sort of looks quite good for him, especially if it opens up money to spend elsewhere in the squad.
Yeah, on the Goals Imminent video and podcast we did earlier this week, where we looked to see who's due a goal, look at the sort of underlying stats, those who aren't scoring but could be. He's on that table there, and obviously plays Sheffield United. He has got one goal from 6 big chances in his last 4 matches. So a lot of big chances, but just one goal. So according to the XG stats, he's underperformed by at least 2 goals. So he should be getting 3 goals over that period. And then less people will be laughing at this selection. So yeah, he's had 9 shots as well over his last 4. And all of those are from close range. So you know what you're going to get there. You're going to get a bloke in the penalty box who's got years and years worth of pedigree of scoring goals, and he's facing a promoted side. So yeah, I think he's a good pick this week. And I think if I was making a striker move, I would possibly go for him. I think I would go for him, double or not, because he frees up a lot of money to use elsewhere. Mark, thanks so much for joining me. I'm not going to make any transfers this week, I think, because I've just wildcarded, so I've got a bench boost, so I can. I'm waiting on injury news for Cher and Edison, so I'll wait until game week 37 before I make my moves. How about you? Are you making a move this week at all?
Possibly roll it over as well. There's a strong temptation to get an Arsenal midfielder, but at the same time, there's a benching dilemma with the front 8. So
Yeah.
to like make that worse by buying another one. So I don't know. I'm torn between benching Gordon and Fernandez. I don't know. Crystal Palace away is a tough one right now. So bench one of those two and possibly Captain Palmer and try to roll the transfer over for the bench boost.
Yeah, I mean, my benching decision between Gordon and Jackson, so I'm probably going to bench Gordon just because of his away record. And West Ham can be quite porous at the back. But yeah, I saw today that from Ten Hag that Fernandez is a doubt, apparently. But we all know that he is. I don't think he's missed a single match through injury yet for Man United. And even when at this stage in the week we saw him on his sofa with his leg in a brace, in some kind of splint and plaster, and we all thought, "Well, that's it." Transferred him out. Then the following Sunday, there he was on the pitch. So Fernandez being a doubt is basically he's fine. Because
Yeah, it's Monday night as well,
yeah,
so it's going to be quite a gap between the Friday
yeah,
deadline.
he's be fine. I mean, it could be famous last words, but I mean, it's very, very. I mean, it's not even rare. It just doesn't happen. He just always plays, whether injured or not. He might be, rested because they've got lots of games or something, but that's not the case here. There's a massive
No.
gap.
And he's dragging them over the line right now as well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I mean, without him, they've got no chance. And I mean, I know whatever people think of the Manchester United hierarchy, Ten Hag can't have escaped his attention. Surely, even me, I don't even like Manchester United. Notice that. I don't mean that for the Manchester United fans below the line start having a go at me. I think Manchester United are great, and I wish them every success and to stay in the Premier League next season and this season. Mark, thanks so much for joining me. Just a final reminder, do press that like button, even if you're a Manchester United fan. And also do remember to subscribe to keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Mark, thanks a lot for joining me. Take care. Good luck with your transfer decisions and the game week. See you soon.
See you soon.